Man, it feels like over a month since I last spoke about House of the Dead. Well, Sega proceeded to do what they always do when they have something good: milk it to death. House of the Dead received many inevitable sequels. House of the Dead 2, released a mere 2 years later, is the first of many games to spawn from the original House of the Dead. This zombie-splattering sequel follows on from the first game's narrative. It features characters from the first game, although some more predominantly than others. The most notable elements are the improvements towards sound, graphics and gameplay. House of the Dead 2 sees 1 or 2 players in the roles of James Taylor and Gary Stewart. They are agents belonging to the AMS agency, who detail in tackling the threat of bioorganic weapons and undead creatures, backed up by nothing more than a handgun. To progress through the game, you are required to shoot your way through several scenes, defeating hordes of creatures while saving civilians. Shooting a civilian will make you lose a life, as will getting hit by anything, whether it be an enemy, a projectile, or an obstacle. At certain points, failing to save a civilian or not shooting a specific object will set you on another course, which features a different arrangement of enemies and secrets. The number of these such alternate routes has increased significantly from the number in the previous game. There are also mad secret collectibles, such as golden coins, necklaces, and even jumping golden frogs. Defeating bosses allows you to progress to the next stage. The most potent part of House of the Dead 2 is the story, which is extremely convoluted. The first House of the Dead had a semblance of story, but the game itself was mostly about the descent through the Curian mansion and how that environment made you feel. House of the Dead 2 introduces an actual villain, a motive for his actions, and tops it all off with poorly spoken dialogue.
This is the final battle! Show yourself! Our new ruler, the Emperor! The Emperor! The Emperor! The Emperor! The Emperor! The Emperor! The Emperor!
Is that all you have to say? Was I really right? Someday. Until the answer is found. Goodbye, Goldman.
This provides the game with a corny charm that results in a lovable B-movie styled end product. For a game released 2 years after its predecessor, the leap in quality is astounding. The voice acting is cleaner, the music sounds crisper, and the textures and character models look great. The environments, though dank and infested with dengue, are well realised and simmering with detail. And there is attention to that detail. How windows or lamps can be shot out, it makes the game far more rewarding to play. Being a Sega game developed on Naomi hardware, it saw an inevitable port to the Sega Dreamcast. This is what I consider to be the finest port of the game. It contains the whole experience barely altered from the arcade version, and a bunch of extra modes. Original mode, where players can unlock bonus items, is one of my favourites. This Dreamcast port was also made available for the PC, with all the features intact. Naturally, that version could not be played with the Dreamcast light gun. When House of the Dead 3 was released on Xbox, it saw the full version of House of the Dead 2 included as unlockable content. This version of House of the Dead 2 contains all of the Dreamcast version's modes. House of the Dead 2 was also eventually ported to the Wii, alongside House of the Dead 3, under the name House of the Dead 2 and 3 Return. This version is easily the most accessible, neither hard to find nor tough on the wallet. Being released on the Wii, it can be played as a light gun shooter without the need for any attachments, However, I find that any cheap plastic gun grip for the Wii does significantly increase the amount of fun had. House of the Dead 2 is easily the most memorable of the series, and has itself spawned several spin-off titles. One of these is Typing of the Dead. It plays out with exactly the same graphics, music and story, but the gameplay is significantly different. You are required to type zombies to death, using the Dreamcast keyboard on the Dreamcast version, or just a regular keyboard on the PC version. This rendition of House of the Dead 2 is easily the funniest. The phrases that you are required to type are sometimes crude, oftentimes outlandish, and will certainly make you laugh and mistakenly type incorrect keys. House of the Dead 2 is a remarkable light gun shooter that can be played over and over, with memorably bad voice acting and dialogue, beautifully formed environments and graphics I still consider to be impressive. House of the Dead 2 is nothing but the cheesiest and most enjoyable shooter available for any console. Ignore the PC version though, if possible. The graphical glitches on the more modern operating systems can be a little off-putting. The Dreamcast version is recommended for those who would like the closest experience to the arcades. A wonderful 7 out of 10. Until next time, if we live that long.